Hi, welcome to another channel which is a bit different, this video, from the last ones. It's different because I'm wearing sunglasses indoors and I've got this sun hat on, or fedora. Very unusual to be wearing a fedora in winter because it's the 13th of January 2021 today, and I'm wearing it indoors. So why are you wondering that? This isn't a view of the Caribbean from my window. It's a picture obviously in the background. So some people have asked me about moving to Blackpool and what it's going to be like. So you probably won't need a sun hat very much because Blackpool isn't the most tropical of climates, let me put it that way. It's always a bit warmer than Manchester. So if you're familiar with Manchester, and Manchester is 6 degrees, then Blackpool's usually about 9. And similarly, Manchester's much more rainy, because it's in the Pennines, more or less, Manchester. So it's a Pennine city, I suppose. So Manchester's always a bit more rainy than Blackpool, and a little bit colder. So Manchester and Blackpool very similar, but Manchester's always a bit colder, and they say it's because of the sea air and the salt in the air. So things aren't quite as cold in Blackpool. So this video is about moving to Blackpool. All you need to know in 10 minutes or even less. So the first thing to say is about housing. There's a lot of affordable housing in Blackpool. That's because there aren't that many jobs around. So there are a lot of seasonal jobs in the hotels and on the amusement arcades and on the piers and on the pleasure beach. The pleasure beach is a big employer, so there's lots of seasonal jobs for passing passing people, sort of transient people. So if you're looking for a seasonal job, it's great between probably February and December, which is most of the year, unless there's COVID scare on, in which case there are no jobs anywhere. But anyway, because Blackpool isn't a huge employer, it's quite a depressed socio-economic area. The stable jobs are quite few and far between. So because of that, the housing is affordable. So if you look at a place like Manchester, where there are more jobs, or London particularly, there are a lot more jobs obviously in London, so the housing is expensive because everyone wants to live near where they work. So that's why London's so expensive, notwithstanding the fact that people from the developing world buy properties in London so that it's a safe bet. Or will it be at the end of this year? Who knows? So the housing is very cheap in Blackpool. You can get at the time of speaking, a typical 3-bedroom property in a nice-ish area like FY4 or FY6 or FY2. 3-bedroom house would be about £150,000. A 2 up 2 down terraced house would be around £80,000-90,000. 4-bedroom detached would be around £200,000. So that's the Blackpool sort of average prices of houses. So there's a proliferation of houses available, all shapes, sizes, and they're all good. They all look good to me. So there's a lot to choose from at very affordable prices. It's one of the cheapest places to live in England. The people in Blackpool are very receptive and very forgiving. Not that they have anything to forgive in particular, but they are. I've always found them to. I moved from Manchester to here about 15 years ago, maybe a bit more, and I've always found the Blackpool people to be open and warm. There are a lot of Scottish people in Blackpool because, like Mancunians, the Scots had happy times of coming to Blackpool when they were children, so they decided to replicate that good time and move here. You think like, well, if I've had a good time on holiday, I'm going to move there. A bit like me and Spain, where this hat is more at home. So there are a lot of Scots in Blackpool, um, and there are a lot of Lancastrians generally in Blackpool. So from Manchester and the old cotton mill towns like Deep Lancashire, talking about Blackburn, Burnley, Bolton, Bury. I'm trying to think of another one beginning with B, but those sort of places, Accrington, Manchester, Ashton-under-Lyne, Tameside, Greater Manchester. A lot of people are from there, and quite a few Yorkshire people are in Blackpool as well, but they tend to gravitate towards the East Coast resorts like Scarborough and Skegness, whereas Blackpool's obviously on the west coast of England. So yeah, so the people are warm, they're friendly, and they're very open. I've never found anyone to be racist or homophobic. Obviously, Blackpool has got a huge gay community, probably similar to Brighton. In fact, Blackpool is fairly Brightonish. I often think of Blackpool as the working class version of Brighton's middle class. So like with Brighton, you've got a huge gay community, and it's a very arty place. Like, you know, it has lanes and posher hotels, whereas Blackpool's like a working class version of Brighton, I think. I think that's as near as you could describe it to a southerner, because of course all southerners like Brighton, don't they? The sea makes everything feel possible. So when you're living on a coastal resort, the sea is beautiful because it gives you a sense of openness and opportunity, like the Caribbean there behind me. It doesn't look like that. Blackpool will never look like that, but it certainly looks like. Certainly, it's a vast expanse, and Blackpool seaside is a huge expanse of water and sand, and the tide comes in and out at regular intervals, and it's a bay. So on a very clear day, you can look out west from Blackpool Promenade. You can see the Isle of Man sometimes. You can see Ireland very, very rarely. If you look to the left, you can see Snowdonia and North Wales, and certainly you can see Southport and Pleasureland in Southport. And then if you look to the right, you can look at the Catskills Mountains in at the bottom end of Cumbria, at the bottom end of the Lake District, and you can see Heysham and Barrow-in-Furness, all from Blackpool's Bay. So it really is spectacular views. If you can afford a house on the front, on the promenade of Blackpool, and you've got massive views, and you can get flats on the front of Blackpool for around £170,000 for a two-bedroom flat, a place called Admiral Point. So that's brilliant to live there. So, yeah, the sea is brilliant. There are so many things to do. To list them all would sound like a Billy Joel song. So you've got, as I've mentioned earlier, you've got the Pleasure Beach, you've got loads of hotels. There's hundreds of thousands of bedrooms available when it's not a lockdown and when it's not all this crazy time we're living in at the moment. So you've got loads of hotels, some great pubs, lots of them with live entertainment on, singers, dancers, everything. Superb restaurants, from really classy restaurants to not so classy ones. Lots of fish and chip places. You've got, like I say, the Pleasure Beach, the Sea Life Centre, Blackpool Tower Ballroom, the Comedy Carpet. We've got 3 piers. Loads of fish and chips restaurants. You'd be spoilt for choice. There's music venues, there's theatres, an art gallery, libraries, all the things that a normal town would have, but with the sea and slightly nicer weather. Those looking for something a bit classier can go to Lytham St Anne's up the road, which has its own vast array of attractions and other things going on for it. And of course there's the trams on the front, so anyone coming to Blackpool must sample the trams. I'm sure I've left loads of things out, but if you're going to relocate from Blackpool, you're going to come to the West Coast, not relocate from Blackpool, relocate to Blackpool, come to the West Coast, enjoy it. Really is quite a brilliant town. I have no regrets from living here, so yeah, what are you waiting for?